Sino po dito ang nakapag-back to work na? Thank you.
Lahat.
Kami po.
Okay, back to work. Welcome back. Welcome back. Ang masasabi ko sa inyo, there's infinite work to be done and beyond. Welcome back sa work. Not
Tama.
sure if yung mga students ba dito nakapag-back to school na rin ba? For me, ang naging work ko is, naka-leave pa kasi ako ng January 3. So itong Monday lang ako nag-start mag-work. Ang nakakatawa lang, parang back to reality. Usually, pag ganito kahaba yung bakasyon, ang hirap, challenging sa akin eh. Parang pag ang haba ng bakasyon mo, tapos bumalik ka sa trabaho, parang bago lahat, kailangan mo mag-realign eh. So, ramdam ko kayo dyan. Before we start, meron akong gustong quiz. Simple lang na quiz. Masasabi niyo ba kung ano to? Mona Lisa. Would you say, tingin niyo ba AI tong image na to? Ganyan ba yung itsura ni Mona Lisa? AI to? So, actually, hindi ito yung Mona Lisa, pero hindi siya AI. Merong nag-aral ng Mona Lisa at ni-recreate niya itong painting. Replica siya, pero ito yung original na Mona Lisa. Yan yung original. Yan yung hindi AI. Now, sa dalawang to, masasabi niyo ba kung alin yung AI dito? A or B? Yung mas maganda? Ito po yung mas maganda, hindi lang nakikita si B. Yan. Would you say na? So, in the human eyes, hindi siya ganun ka-noticeable. Pero mas high resolution tong B. And actually, AI si B. Mas maganda pa si B. Ang problema sa mundong to is, ang gusto ng mundong to is AI, itong AI na, di ba, parang mas entertaining siya ngayon. Nowadays. And kung isipin natin, si Leonardo da Vinci, para gawin niya itong Mona Lisa painting, it took him 16 years. Para gawin ko tong AI image na to, it took me 10 seconds to type. Mona Lisa in a metro, drinking Starbucks with a Louis Vuitton bag. Sometimes, I see these things, especially in my line of work, and I call them shortcuts. Pag nakikita ko tong ginagawa sa industry namin, I will always think, wala, parang lugi ako ah. Parang lugi. Kasi, for someone like me who spent 10 years of my life learning all the techniques so that I can do something like this in Photoshop and takes me like 1 week. Para ma-achieve yung ganito, pwede kong i-Photoshop yung mukha ni Mona Lisa with someone na may stock photo na ganito and pagdugtong-dugtongin yung pictures. Now, it can be done in 5 seconds by anyone. And all they need is a computer and an internet connection. Hindi ko alam kung gusto niyo, kung nag-agree kayo sa akin. But nowadays, it feels pointless how computers can do everything so much faster. Bakit kaya nag-suspend ng time na gumawa pa ng, slides, gumawa pa ng, maraming trabaho natin nowadays can be replaced by computer and AI. It feels pointless, di ba? Pero going back to my point earlier, sabi ko kanina, welcome back to work. Nakakatamad. And on top of this, ako, sa perspective ko, bakit ngayon ganito pa? Parang ang hirap naman. Why does work have to feel so hard? It is hard. It is. Because after the fall, after the sin of Adam and Eve, cursed is the ground, through toil we will eat of it. Diba? Sabi nga ni Mama, walang madaling trabaho. If we judge our work lives and what we do by the world's standards, ito yung, dapat mabilis, dapat efficient, we will always lose. And lagi tayong tatamarin, lagi tayong matatalo sa computer pa lang. Because in a world that only cares about results, walang pakialam yung mundo kung paano tayo makakapunta doon. That's why some people cheat, some people lie, some people are dishonest. Because the only thing that matters is yumaman ka or maging successful ka. Doesn't matter paano mo gagawin yun. And to some extent, meron mga ibang tao na makaka-get away with doing bad things just to get there. And we know, hindi na ako magiging political, pero alam niyo yung sinasabi ko. But the thing is, God's standards are different. And I mentioned this siguro in one of my teachings in the past kasi ito yung key theme ko personal na struggle ko to God's standards are different. God is not interested in what I call shortcuts. And God honors the work that's honest, sincere, and genuine, and real. Ito yung message ko sa inyo today, not to discourage you na ganito hindi ko gusto sabihin na kaya ng palitan ng trabaho, ng computer lang, lahat ng trabaho ngayon. Pero ang gustong message sa inyo today is, gusto kong i-encourage sa inyo na ngayong start of the year, and not just work, not just our student responsibilities, but in everything we do. There's so much work to be done, pero yung encouragement ko sa inyo and reminder that we should always do our work. We should always do everything that aligns with God, with God's standards, not the world's standards. So work in the Lord. Narinig nyo na ba itong quote na to? Choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. It's not true. Narinig ko to, nakikita ko pa to sa coffee mug sa mga agencies, nasa Instagram pa to. At ito yung karamihan maririnig mo, lalo na kung fresh grad ka. Parang kailangan, piliin mo yung trabaho na masaya ka, na mamahalin mo, at hindi siya magiging feel. This is dangerous. This quote is dangerous. Hindi ko alam kung paano naging popular to, pero bakit? It implies na if we don't love our job, then we're not supposed to be doing it. Diba? Parang, if mahirap, if boring, if mundane, then I must be in the wrong place. It's not true. It sets us up for disappointment. Because ang reality is, even the dream jobs, even pilots, they don't always love their jobs. Diba? You can be a chef. Probably, ang mga bata, at least ako at some point, ginusto ko rin maging chef. Pero hindi natin alam. Probably, chefs work at least 16 hours a day. Di ba? Gusto niyo ba maging chef kung yun yung dream job niyo? And then, the sacrifice or the price you have to pay to be a good chef is to work at least 16 hours a day to be a world-class chef or to be a Michelin star chef. Di ba? Gusto mo ba yun? It means you'll lose a lot of your life. Or you'll allocate a lot of your time trying to be a good chef. Diba? Even for me as a designer who loves doing design work, but I hate working with entitled clients, for example. Diba? Reality check, if naniniwala ka sa quote na to, the moment things get hard or the moment things get boring, you start to give up. And this is where we miss the point. If anything, if meron man na magrereklamo sa kanyang trabaho or sa kanyang situation in life, it's probably gonna be Joseph from Genesis. And today I want to talk about some of Joseph's story. Hindi lahat, kasi medyo mahaba to. If you want, you can sit down. It'll take you like 1 hour. Basahin mo yung Genesis 37, chapter 37 hanggang 50. That's the entire story of Joseph. Pero to make things a little bit more entertaining and for a Sunday sermon, let's look at a few things. So, Genesis 37, verse 1, ito yung background ni Joseph. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was pasturing the flock with his brothers. He was a boy with the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah. Ito yung ibang asawa ni Jacob. And Joseph had brought a bad report of them to their father. Now Israel Israel, si Jacob, loved Joseph more than any of his sons because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a robe of many colors. Let's dive in deeper dito sa verse. Verse 3. Sorry, verse 2 pala ako nag-start. So verse 3, Jacob loved Joseph more. I don't think it's only because of his old age, pero si Joseph kasi ang pinakaunang anak niya kay Rachel. Naturo to ni Mama before. 'Di ba si Laban, in-scam si Jacob na papakasalan supposedly niya si Rachel, pero si Leah yung nauna niyang binigay ni Laban. So the reason why si Joseph yung mas favored is siya na yung karapat-dapat na anak ni Jacob. And he made him a robe of many colors. Meron tayong mga favorite na damit. Kunyari ito, ngayon favorite ko tong jacket na to kaya sinuot ko today. Pag ikaw, let's say si Joseph, sinuot yung robe of many colors, siya lang yung may ganun. Sa farm, may kita mo, sino to nakamakulay na damit nasa farm? Parang sinasabi mo na, di pwede madumihan yung robe ko. Kaya niyo na yung farm na yan. Ako magmamanage sa inyo. Di ba parang, sa isip ko, nung binabasa ko to, si Joseph para siyang entitled. Or parang, since ganun yung pagtrato niya, favorite siya ni Jacob, nung ama niya, meron pa siyang special treatment, meron pa siyang special robe, di ba? Itong colorful na robe, ito yung parang naging differentiator niya sa iba niyang mga kapatid. Na-mention dito, kasama niya yung mga ibang kapatid ng mga ibang asawa ni Jacob. Since favorite si Joseph, and by the way, nung Bible times, if you were the favorite, ikaw din yung magiging tagapagmana. Basta ang laki ng factors sa'yo in the Bible times kung ikaw yung favorite. Now, today, probably, mas marunong na mga parents today, especially millennials, kahit si mama pa nga nung parent, tinatanong pa namin, yung mga leading questions pa kami, Mama, sinong favorite mo sa amin ni ate? And ang reply ni Mama palaging wala. Anyway, so, since si Joseph yung favorite, he was entitled and he had no idea what probably a lot of the things or farming, yung mga ginagawa ng brothers niya kasi mas entitled siya kaysa doon sa mga kapatid niya. So, with that in mind, yung mga kapatid niya, they hated Joseph because he was the favorite. Obviously, there's gonna be rivalry, di ba, pag may ganun. And yung attitude ni Joseph, yung palakad-lakad lang ng colorful robe, probably hindi yun nakatulong. And he even had a dream that he said na ako yung unang vision ni Joseph, unang nanaginip siya, sabi niya, nanaginip ako na ako yung nagmamanage sa inyo. Sumusunod kayo sa akin. Di ba? Sinabi niya pa yun sa mga kapatid niya. And ang weird, kasi hindi lang that got more resentment from his brothers. So what happened? In Genesis 37:14, so he said to him, sabi ni Jacob kay Joseph, anak, punta ka sa mga kapatid mo with the flock and bring me word. So he sent him from the valley of Hebron and he came to Shechem. And the man found him wandering in the fields and asked him, what are you seeking? I'm seeking my brothers. Nahanap ko yung mga kapatid ko. Tell me please, where are they pasturing the flock? And the man, they have gone away, for I heard him say, let's go to Dothan. So pumunta si Joseph sa Dothan kasi hinahanap niya yung mga kapatid niya. Nakita siya ng mga kapatid niya. Nakita siya ng brothers, they saw him from afar, and before he came near, they conspired against him to kill Joseph. They said to one another, here comes, eto na yung mahilig managinip. Pinaginipan niya pa tayo, siya daw ang boss natin. Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. Then we will say a fierce animal has devoured him, and we will see what become of these dreams. Diba? Then Judah said to his brothers, wait lang, what profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our own flesh. Well, Judah save his brother. Good job. Pero nag-profit pa siya. Binenta nila si Joseph. Then Midianite traders passed by, and they drew Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. They took Joseph to Egypt. Grabe. So, Joseph now, hinahanap niya lang, pina-check lang nung ama niya, ni Jacob, kung nasan yung mga kapatid niya. Ang nangyari, pinagtangkaan pa siyang patayin. Ang nangyari, buti na lang si Judah nagkaroon ng better business idea. Binenta nila si Joseph for 20 shekels of silver. Do you know how much that is? Sa AI, 35,000 pesos for a man's life. So, sa resume, kung iisipin ko in a work setting or like a biography, yung pinagdaanan ni Joseph from entitled son, favorite son, then naging prisoner, bought as a slave. Di ba? Ano yung iniisip ko? Kasi pag binasa niyo yung story ni Joseph, walang gaanong internal dialogue si Joseph. Yung mga events lang sa mga buhay niya. At least itong part ng Genesis na to. So, iniisip ko si Joseph from palakad-lakad lang na naka-robe, tapos biglang stripped away of all his power kasi ayaw sa kanya ng mga kapatid niya. And then became a slave, just like that. And probably, in our lives, di ba may high highs, low lows tayo? Probably one of those. Medyo nakarelate lang ako, hindi in this scale. Pero what happened afterwards? Genesis 39. Now Joseph had been brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard, an Egyptian, had brought him to the Ishmaelites who brought him down there. Binili siya ni Potiphar. So si Potiphar is ang Egypt officer of the Pharaoh, captains of the guard. Even though he was hired as a slave, the Lord was with Joseph, verse 2, and he became a successful man, and he was in the house of his Egyptian master. His master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord caused all he did to succeed in his hands. So Joseph found favor in his sight and attended him, and he made him overseer of his house and put him in charge of all that he had. Sorry, hindi ko pala na next. Nung naging slave siya, di ba? But the Lord was with Joseph. Kasi hindi ko masyadong gaano katagal tong timeline na to eh. From nabenta siya as a slave, kinuha siya ni Potiphar, hanggang biglang naging successful siya. It's like one verse lang ang pagitan. Ngayon, ano nangyari? The Lord was with Joseph. Okay, so inimagine ko, he must have worked really, really hard with the Lord to be in a position where makita sa kanya nung boss niya, ni Potiphar, na sobrang faithful niya at sobrang ayos niya magtrabaho, then became a successful man. So Joseph found favor in Potiphar's sight. Now, si Joseph, around this chapter, sinabi pa sa isa pang verse, Joseph was handsome. Joseph was very handsome in I forgot yung verse eh. Pero guwapo daw to si Joseph. Then the wife of Potiphar, yung boss, yung amo ni Joseph, had a liking to him. Yeah. Verse 6. But Joseph wouldn't do such an unrighteous thing. Di ba nga, the Lord was with him. I would imagine he was a really faithful man. He even told the wife na halos lahat nga ng power, ng decision-making dito sa bahay na to, ako na yung gumagawa. Halos lahat na nangyayari sa bahay nyo, ako na yung halos may-ari, except sa'yo. Dahil asawa ka ng boss ko, hindi kita gagalawin. To the point na kino-convince siya ng wife to lay with her day after day until the time comes na mag-isa na lang sila. Silang dalawa na lang sa bahay. No one was there. But Joseph still didn't give in. In Genesis chapter 39, na-frame, before this verse, finrame siya ng wife na may ginawa sa kanya. It wasn't true. Pero di ba, naging response, anong naging outcome? And Joseph's master took him and put him into prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. Pinakulong pa siya nung amo niya kahit wala siyang masamang ginawa. Kahit he stood up for righteousness, evil still ended up winning. Parang kahit naging maayos si Joseph sa lahat ng mga responsibilities niya, he worked hard and stayed away from sin. But even then, finrame pa siya nung wife kasi hindi nga nakuha yung gusto. Diba? How frustrating is that? In Genesis 39, nasa prison na siya, nakakulong na siya. But the Lord was with Joseph again and showed him steadfast love and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners who were in the prison. Whatever was done there, he was the one who did it. The keeper of the prison paid no attention to anything that was Joseph's in charge because the Lord was with him, and whatever he did, the Lord made it succeed. Dalawang beses in Joseph's life, we can see yung term na, but the Lord was with Joseph. Di ba? Ang bilis lang kasi pag binasa mo eh. Pero if mag-reflect tayo, di ba? Kung isipin mo, ano yung nangyari kay Joseph? Muntik na siyang patayin, binenta siya as a slave. Na-frame pa siya. Before siya na-frame. Lahat, di ba? Parang he worked his way, high highs, low lows, worked his way up again. Tapos, biglang ma-frame ka pa. Pupunta ka sa prison, makukulong ka pa. Nangyari ba yun sa inyo? Binenta kayo, tapos nakulong pa kayo after working so hard. Before, he started interpreting dreams. Di ba, nagkaroon siya ng panaginip sa mga kapatid niya. Akala niya, dream lang yun. Pero eventually, he started interpreting dreams. Nakita niya yung talent niya to interpret dreams. Kaya naging title na Joseph the Dreamer. In-interpret niya yung dreams to the point na naging second in command siya sa King of Egypt, the Pharaoh. Before, naasar lang siya ng mga brothers niya na, yan na yung mahilig managinip. Pero maybe like Joseph, we will have high highs and low lows. Moments in our lives na merong magsisetback sa atin sa buong buhay natin. Parang we work so hard and then something happens that seems to parang isang malaking step back or isang malaking bagsak. But even though we think na ginawa natin lahat ng best natin, it will still happen. There will still be a negative outcome. Maybe like Joseph, we once felt na meron tayo yun, yung favorite nating colorful na robe. But it will be stripped away. And sometimes, kahit yung tingin natin sa sarili natin, we're gonna feel like a slave, we're gonna feel like a prisoner in certain circumstances in our life. But remember, the Lord was with Joseph, and He will be with you. If you work in the Lord, even in the slave house, even in the pit, even sa prison, God is shaping you through these painful experiences, these painful circumstances in your life, these moments that will prepare you in the future. Something that you can see it. Hindi alam ni Joseph bakit may ganun siyang mga weird na vision of dreams. Hindi niya alam bakit may ganun siyang work ethic. Parang sa unang niyang panaginip, manager siya or like siya yung in charge sa mga brother niya. But all along, it was his destination, di ba? Na magaling siya mag-manage ng tao. And that's really what happened. Siya yung naging slave master, siya yung naging chief prison guard, and siya yung naging second in command. That was his talent. Hindi niya lang na-gets nung una. Pero there was a quote by Steve Jobs, favorite ko to eh, sa isang commencement speech niya sa isang college, sa Stanford. Sabi niya, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect you in your future. Si Joseph, hindi niya alam kung yung ginagawa niya ngayon, magagamit niya. Like, hindi niya alam na nanaginip siya, na-interpret niya. Tapos, pwede pala ako. Nagamit niya pala sa Pharaoh. You are here, 2026. There might be more for you in the future. Pero everything that has happened in your life are dots. And put you in this position now, today. And yung mga dots na nangyari in your past or na nangyayari ngayon, God will connect them. Si Steve Jobs, trust lang yung sabi niya. But we know that we have a God working with us. The Lord is always with us. He will connect the dots in our lives and set it up for the future. Ngayon, if you work in the Lord, you don't trust yung quote ni Steve Jobs. You trust that He will be the one to connect your dots. And nothing you go through, no painful moments will be wasted. He's using it all. Now, someday, or nowadays, somewhere along the way, humirap yung trabaho. Aside from the curse, diba, the world has shaped work to be painful, boring, fake, dishonest with all that's happening. And everybody's cutting corners, taking shortcuts. Alam niyo po ba tong mouse device na to? Itong, yung nasa baba is called a mouse jiggler. So mga tao naka-work from home, usually may monitor yan na naka-install sa laptop. Na pag hindi ka gumalaw, ibig sabihin, hindi ka nagtatrabaho or wala ka doon sa laptop. Para ma-hack nila yung na yun, dahil minomonitor sila, para hindi sila ma-flag as idle, they buy this, and then it moves yung mouse. Why do we do this? Why do we try to look busy? And somewhere along the way, the world has shaped work to be dishonest. It's dishonest because people are using this to get away with monitoring, and at the same time, companies are monitoring this because people are dishonest. Di ba? Chicken and egg problem. The world has set rules for work that encourages bad behaviors like this, like being dishonest. And that's not how God designed work to be in the first place, di ba? In Genesis, He worked. In Genesis, the Bible talks about how God is a worker. God is a maker. He created everything. He produces actual results. Hindi siya yung gagalaw-galaw lang ng mouse. And more importantly, He made everything good before everything was ready. He made it a point na dapat good yung work ko. Di ba? His work had quality, had value, and His work is beautiful, stands to this day. What about the work that we do? Di ba? In Colossians 3, whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ. Show God in your work. Diba? It's important that in everything we do, we represent God. As Christians, we should be responsible for carrying His image and represent God well. When we say Christian, or when we say Christian tayo, usually people will just think, oh, we go to church every Sunday. But little do they know, or little do you know even, pag ikaw sinabi mo yun, people will start to look at you. May ganyan ba yung Kristiyano, hindi nagtatrabaho. Petiks lang. But even in our work, even sometimes, diba, even in your work, hindi ako na nakatayo dito, it can be a more powerful testimony in your coworkers. How you work as a Christian. It's through, living for God in our lives. Part of it is working. And I'm not saying work in the Lord just here for the church, but in your life. How do you work in the Lord in your life. Diba? It can be a more powerful testimony for God if we show God in our work through our daily labor. And like I said, work doesn't mean trabaho lang. It's in everything we do, in our daily labor. I know all of us have different responsibilities then. And I want to be clear, it does. I don't mean trabaho. It means like can also be a parent. Being a parent is a 24/7 job, or keeping a house clean. Being a student is also work. There's so much that we can do. Anything that basically requires effort is work. As we close, I'd like to take a step back. When we read Joseph's story in Genesis, ang dali kasing basahin yung verses lang eh. And think na ito yung mga events sa buhay ni Jacob. Sa buhay ni Joseph. Ito yung mga nangyari sa buhay ni Joseph. Nakita natin na Joseph was sold in a slave and became a slave master. Joseph was put in prison and became a prison guard, then became the second in command in Egypt. But in real life, if I looked through this was around 13 years of Joseph's life. 13 years. Ngayon, kaka 2026 lang. Imagine mo, yung pinagdaanan ni Joseph was a total of 13 years. Nabenta siya. He was 17 years old nung binenta siya. 17 or 18. Then he was 30 years old when he became a second in command sa Pharaoh. So it's in the Bible. So imagine mo, during those 13 years, ano yung mga nangyari sa buhay ni Joseph? And it's not as fast as reading the verses. Like, matagal yung 13 years. Meron akong motto. Ang daming pwede mangyari sa isang taon. Pero, di ba, you have to, in relation to what we experience in our lives, God is working with us. The Lord is with you. Isang verse lang yan probably ni KJ Joseph. But it's probably like 5 years worth of his time. The God was with him through everything he worked so hard for. From being a slave to doing every single day well. Di ba? Until the moment na manotice siya nung amo niya na, uy, okay pala itong taong to eh. Sa Bible kasi isang verse lang eh. Isang entry lang yun eh. Pero what if di ba, sa perspective sa buhay ni Joseph, napakatagal na panahon na yun. Ang hirap din siguro sa kanya nun. Di ba pinangalanan niya pa yung anak niya Manasseh dahil God freed him from all his anxieties or parang something na ganun yung anak niya. Ibig sabihin, kahit walang internal dialogue si Joseph, ganun yung pinangalanan yung anak niya. Diba, usually sobrang big deal nun. Saan mo kukunin yung pangalan ng anak mo? Usually, it comes from your experience din. Ibig sabihin, ganun yung pinagdaanan ni Joseph. But the Lord was with him. In Proverbs 22, do you see a man skillful in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before obscure men. There's a fundamental truth behind this. Si Solomon yung nagsabi nito. Si Solomon nakita na laman natin last week na sobrang dami niyang wisdom. And Proverbs is usually full of wisdom. It shows that God rewards being skillful in your work, doing your work well. When we do work that honors God, people will start to notice you. They notice integrity. They notice patience, consistency. They notice all these good traits in your life that you're doing. They notice kindness, humility, diligence. They notice how you act as a person. And if you're working in the Lord, if you're working like this, if you're working like Joseph, where you really make it a point that you do your work well, even people like the slave master, di ba ang amo usually mababa ang tingin sa, hanggang dun ka lang. Pero how did Joseph get to a point na pag-i-entrustan siya nung amo niya to manage his own property? Naiiwan niya na lang lahat ng decisions kay Joseph from a slave. Di ba? Grabe. How you work can sometimes speak louder than just you going to church every Sunday. How you display excellence in your work rooted in godliness can be a testimony that's louder than what I'm doing right now, than a sermon. In Corinthians 15, verse 58, therefore, my beloved brothers, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. This is a message addressed by Paul to churches. And we usually think na when Paul addresses churches, especially in the mga ganitong epistles, he means work in the church. But, well, may mga scholars na nag-aaral, by the way, yung work here that Paul mentions is not just ministry work, but in everyday labor that we do. You can work, meron pa dito meron pa sa Genesis, meron ibang tao doon na dinidesign nila yung, I forgot, basta meron silang kailangan buuin para sa tabernacle. Yun lang yung role nila. They were designers, essentially. They were makers. Pero that was also considered work for God. In a world full of dishonest work, full of people cutting corners just to get ahead, sobrang talamak niyan eh. Alam niyo yung diskarte mindset? Sobrang talamak niyan at least sa Facebook. Let's choose work that honors God, not complies to the world. Let's choose to do our work honestly, with honesty, with diligence, with integrity. And let's do our work in God's way. Tomorrow, it's gonna be Monday. We dread Mondays. And laging nandiyan yung stress, especially for me. When the moment Monday comes, always think that the Lord will be with you. And your labor is not gonna be in vain. It will be worth it. Amang Yahweh, maraming salamat po sa buhay na binigay niyo na kahit mahirap, Ama, sinasamahan niyo kami at alam po namin, pagtitiwalaan po namin kayo na dadalhin niyo kami with justice at patuloy niyo pong i-remind ang pangako niyo sa amin upang hindi kami mag-falter, hindi kami mawalan ng lakas ng loob to go through our everyday. Iba-iba po ang aming responsibilities, but pare-parehas po lahat na mahirap sa amin, Ama. Pero andyan po kayo upang sumama sa aming pang-araw-araw na trabaho, pang-araw-araw na challenges. Alam namin, Ama, na kayo, katulad ng ginawa niyo kay Joseph, ay ang magre-reward ng karapat-dapat sa amin. Tulungan niyo kami na makuha rin po namin ang last at pinamagandang reward, which is to be with you, the eternal life, at makapasok sa kingdom niyo. In the name of Jesus Christ, Amen.